Take my hand, and we don't need to do the things we don't want to do.
Looking back at the good times before it all went down. Climbed right up on the hillside, a different view of my life. You left me running on and on, but I don't care, would you let me in? You said goodbye like everything's gone, everything that we could have been. But I know you are my liability. Yeah, I know you are my liability.
You say that you're sorry. We turn the page and make up. A broken trust got you haunted. The doubt in you was enough to leave me chasing you on and on. But I don't care, I will let you in. You said goodbye like everything's gone, everything that we could have been. But I know you are my liability.
hopeless case we could be. Yeah. Oh, what a hopeless place that we're in. But I'm your liability. I know you are my liability. Yeah. I know you are my liability. Oh, what a hopeless case we could be. Yeah. Oh, what a hopeless place that we're in. But I'm your liability.
Come take my hand, I will walk with you. I won't let go till you say so. There isn't anything I wouldn't do. Wanna make sure that you understand. You're the one who gives my life color. There is no another. With your hand in mine, let me go by your side. Let me go by your side. I wanna stay in your sunlight. I wanna wake up with you by my side. Without you there is no tomorrow. We could be in for the best ride. Want this to last for the rest of our lives. Without you there is no tomorrow. Sometimes I wonder where you came from. You are special, yeah, you're special. Everything about you is so beautiful. I am all yours if you let me stay. You're the one who gives my life color. There is no another. With your hand in mine, let me go by your side. Let me go by your side. Stay in your sunlight. I wanna wake up with you by my side. Without you there is no tomorrow. We could be in for the best ride. Want this to last for the rest of our lives. Without you there is no tomorrow.
Open the border so we can come back in. That is what some of the viewers are saying tonight as we get this table going here. Tonight we got This Is China. Jerry's in the house. Jerry, give us a big wave. All right. We also got the Barretts in the house, and if the Barretts can just unmute their microphone, that would be helpful. And also we have Xiao from iChongqing in the house as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this show is about you tonight, and we are here to answer all your questions. So if you're out there, the moderators are out there, you guys can keep track for us, as well as the super chats get top priority. And of course, we do appreciate those donations. And we will put a code up as well for all those people that are in China that want to, donate to the show. We have a QR code with that. So without further ado, the panel is ready to take your questions. I'm going to go over to the Barretts and let's see what's going on with you guys tonight in Shenzhen.
Okay, what's going on, Ollie?
Well, I'm just trying to sort a stream issue out at the moment, so I wasn't quite tuned in there. I do apologise, but
no problem.
Good to see everybody in here. Looking forward to getting on the chat, answering some of the viewers' questions. So hopefully we've got an interactive audience going on tonight. Cheers to everybody who's watching as well, because they're just sinking a nice chin down.
And cheers to Guelo's crowd that comes in. I know that Guelo is going to be resting up for the weekend and filming like a madman as usual this week. So do not worry if you're coming in from Guelo's or Jio Nation's page or Alex Absolutes or even Snarky Guys. We want to put a big thank you out to you. We're also going to go over to Jerry. Jerry, what's cooking where you are, man?
Hey, hello everybody. First I want to say hello to all the viewers watching. And yeah, things are going well here in China, in Qingdao. I actually started work on Monday, so yeah, things are bouncing back here fast. Yeah, things are bouncing back like crazy here.
Well, great news. Good to hear. And Zhao from iChongqing, how are you? How are you?
Thank you, Alex. Very good, very good. I'm very happy to be here again. And yeah, for the past week, that's like I was exploring the city still,
right.
Like doing like the vlogs for our platform iChongqing. Yeah.
Oh,
so
great.
A lot of content on our website already, on our like YouTube channel also.
The good news is this is iChongqing's first ever stream on their YouTube channel. So congratulations to that, and your first stream on Facebook. I don't think, guys, have we ever streamed to Facebook before? I think we are.
First time.
First time for everything. Okay.
So welcome.
So somebody has come up with a question here. Good Life says, do all share the super chats? How does it work? Ollie, you're the pro at this one. Tell us, how does it work? How does super chat work? How does somebody get in there and do a super chat?
Okay,
or Lee?
He's sorting a little issue out at the moment.
Yeah, no problem.
So super chats, that is a per channel thing. So whichever channel you go to give the super chat, that's who gets it. It's a bit complicated to share super chats because YouTube takes some of the money and it doesn't always appear instantly. But what we do with all the stuff that comes in through our WeChat code, that is shared equally between the guests within the stream. But super chats, that's a per channel. So if you donate it on Alex's channel, Alex gets it. If you donate it on our channel, we get it. And if you donate it on Jerry's or Zhao's channel, they will get it. We don't actually share the super chat, but we do share the stuff that comes through on WeChat.
Yeah, we'll put that WeChat code up for them in a while, right? Lee, we'll get that ready for them. Okay, so Jerry, you had an interesting video out a few days ago. Can you tell us about what that was all about? Your last video before the live stream that I put out, or did you get another one, sneak another one into me?
No. I'm going to do a new video this week, actually.
Right.
The last one was actually you.
You've been giving some sneak peeks, though. You've been asking some people advice on the thumbnail. You're gearing up on this one, so this one must be a special one. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so basically it's just, I'm going to talk a bit about the West. That I just think they must not underestimate 1.4 billion Chinese people. They tend to think Chinese people are stupid by just following the party over here, the Communist Party, as the people so much hate out there. These people are not really stupid. They know what they are doing. They are quite happy with their leaders over here. So yeah, that's what's going to happen in that video. And I will touch a little bit on Hong Kong. I'm not an expert in this, but okay. I did read up a little bit on it. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get around to that. So guys, got our first super chat in for tonight. Straya guy in China. Commonly hear people say, let's go out for Chinese food as an exotic, different cuisine. What do you all find yourself saying, let's go out to eat? Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, this is quite a funny one because in the UK, it's a big thing that like maybe a Friday night or a Saturday night, we'll say, let's go for a Chinese or let's order a Chinese in. But you don't ever hear sort of Chinese people go, let's go for an English. or let's
so
go
famous for our
English.
food.
It's kind of, I mean, there are sort of restaurants here that do a kind of westernized food, but I haven't come across anything yet. So a typical kind of English food will be like a roast beef dinner, or obviously everybody thinks it's fish and chips. And yeah, fish and chips is a thing, but it's, you know, Chinese think we eat kind of fish and chips like 4 times a week, but realistically you may eat it once a week or once every 2 weeks. But yeah, I've never heard a Chinese say, let's go for an English. So that's quite a funny one.
I like to think we're in the UK are kind of the master at stealing the other culture's food. You know, I eat mostly Italian food, and you know we'll have Chinese food, Indian food, Turkish food, but you don't really. No one really goes for an English, do they? So
yeah, one thing I really can't get used to here. So when we cook meat in the UK and we put it on our plate, it's all meat. There's no bone in there. There's no gristle. There's no fat. It's like meat. So you can pick up a big chunk of meat and chew it and, you know, really enjoy it. And I find when I'm in China, you have to be really careful. I went to eat goose with my partner's family at the, and it's really nice gooses. But because of the way they cut it, they just get a goose and they just chop it up with a great big, you know, Chinese cleaver and then cook it. And I cut my mouth because obviously all the bones are jagged and they shatter. And I cut my lip. But the Chinese are so used to sort of kind of sucking the meat off all the bones and then spitting the bones out. And that's just something I just can't get used to.
We have another super chat in here. I'm not sure whose channel it's come in from, but this is Will Liao. Hi all, thanks for sharing your views. Can you advise on the relationship between India and China? I mean, what is the feeling like over there? Xiao, you want to take this one, or do you want to pass it to Jerry?
Well, I saw this question, but maybe so far I don't feel that much yet. Usually the news I'm focusing on is more like for girls, like, you know, like the entertaining and something.
Okay.
No
problems.
Yeah.
All right. So no problem there, Jerry. We're going to go to you on this one. Do you have an opinion or some knowledge of this topic here, the super chat that's sitting on the screen there? It's hi all. Yeah. Thanks for sharing your views. Can you advise the relationship between India and China? I mean, what is the feeling like over there?
All right, well, all I'm going to say is watch my new video coming out, because I will speak about that in that video. So
really?
Yeah. I don't know a lot at this stage, but I'm busy shooting the video still.
Okay, and can you, maybe for the audience that's unfamiliar with what's going on over there, do you have any take or any kind of, you know, view on it right now? What have you been reading, and what is the Chinese talking about it? Is the average Chinese person speaking about it?
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously all over the news. And I actually saw, you know, I want to add on to that, I actually saw a tweet about Japan also now starting to interfere in this whole Hong Kong, China thing. So it's just, I get the feeling the whole world is starting to stand up like rapidly against China right now. It's getting into a crazy stage over here right now.
Okay. Lee, do you guys want to, you know, you got anything to say about that, or?
Actually, to be fair, I'm not very up on that. I just know there's a standoff. The latest I've heard is China are moving some troops near the border. I find it kind of strange, because I don't know why this has suddenly seemed to flare up with China and India. It seems as that
it's come out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's kind of the USA trying to sway India towards their direction. You know, I've not been aware of like any major sort of conflict or issues between India and China in the past, but it seems to be something that's.
Here's an interesting comment regarding that, or maybe making some assumptions here. But Mr. Joshua Wong was trying to start a spark with India, China.
Oh, that's interesting.
That is very interesting. The man himself that loves to go to speak to German news and give his opinion to everyone. Okay.
Yeah, it's quite interesting with Joshua Wong, where he wouldn't sort of say the Hong Kong protesters were wrong to attack innocent people. I found that really quite telling. He was asked outright, I think in the States when he was there and he said, do you condone the Hong Kong protesters attacking innocent people? And he didn't. He refused to. I thought that was very, very telling of him.
Okay, so just so you guys, I just saw some of your backstage messages. Is everybody's stream going okay? Are we all right?
We're good.
With the
We're
streams?
back up and running now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just so you guys know, we use some other third-party software to make sure that these streams go well, because having streams from all over the world, all parts of China, it's important to keep these streams going pretty smooth as we can. Some of them do require, certain logins do require VPNs. Even some of these shows we had to set up manually today, which has been quite challenging, but we enjoy doing it, and that's what we try to do. So right around the time you go live is usually when you find out where most of the things don't necessarily go your way. All right, so we're going to continue on. So we're really wanting the audience to get involved with this, and really, if you have any questions, comments, or anything, feel free to get them into us, as well as if you want something really visible for everybody to say. And to see, put it in the super chat and even super sticker, no problem. With it, and really, I've got some back. I'm hearing some reverb. We good there?
I'd like to ask Zhao what things are like there in Chongqing now. Has things got back to normal? Because here in Shenzhen, it's like pretty much as it was before the COVID-19.
Alex, could you help me just maybe I cannot hear.
So what's your question, Lee? Just so.
Yeah, I was just wanting to know if things are kind of back to normal in Chongqing after the virus.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you ask like how is the situation now in Chongqing after after the pandemic, right? Yes, the current situation actually is like we go to work normally, and we during weekend and also go out to eat. Everything has already opened and resumed to work, and everything just like by my impression, or like some people come here, they will say normal, but there's still some prevention measures that's still going on to help prevent it become worse, that. Yeah, like the tourist spots, these places they already open, but they still have measures like reduce the people visit, and have the measure your temperature when you enter, and of course people wear masks all the time. Yeah, when you are outside, when you are near the crowd. So my feeling is come back to normal, but still there is measure, you can feel a preventive measures that control measures going on. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, Jerry, have you got any questions from your panel? Has anybody been asking your live chat any questions that need to be answered? How about you, Lee?
Well, there's still questions coming in, but I think Straya guy sent a question earlier on, but we never got to me.
Sure, fire away.
We asked where will we take people out to if they ask us for food, right? Some cuisine here in China. So I will definitely do biang biang meng. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's a noodle dish, and it's also the most difficult word to spell in Chinese. So I will definitely take them out to go eat that. And also from my hometown in China, which is Xi'an. It's in Shaanxi province. I will definitely take them for a rojia mo. It's like a Chinese hamburger.
Rojia mo, yeah, I like that.
But you cannot eat rojia mo without drinking a ping feng, and you only get that in Xi'an.
That's funny you mentioned rojia mo. We just met a guy who has a couple of factories making rojia mo, and we might be making a video on it in the near future. But he was telling me how they've set up 20 stores in New York selling Xi'an rojia mos, and they're really popular in New York City, but they don't have them anywhere else in the USA. But that makes sense because the USA, it's similar to a hamburger, isn't it? Really, so.
Well, it's actually more healthy because there's no bun. It's like a crispy dough type of thing that the Chinese make.
Yeah.
They're really nice.
And so, by the way, you get them for 6 kwai in Xi'an. Whenever you're there, 6 kwai. That's the only money you're going to pay for a serious rojam meal.
So, I mean, explain what that is for some of the viewers that don't know, Jerry, what you're talking about.
So it's you can think of an hamburger, but it's a Chinese hamburger. So inside this burger, you don't get lettuce and stuff like that. It's like a meat type of stew dish that they chuck in there, and they get different types of flavors. You get spicy ones, you get beef. Obviously, some people get creative, and they even add some shrimp in there. There's a lot of stuff that goes in there, but it's essentially like this little flat, round. It looks like, I don't know what you call them. It just looks like a waffle.
Yeah.
The literal translation is meat in bun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's meat in bun.
But it's kind of not a bread bun. It's a crispy, nice, delicious, crispy thing. I don't know what it is.
So just for the panel, where do you think Guelo 60's favorite place to eat is? Does anybody know?
Does he actually have a meal, or does he just drink through it?
It is Mexican.
I think is it Mexican or is it Brazilian?
Yeah, it's Brazilian.
With unlimited Pabst Blue, huh?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I guess there must be some of those in Shenzhen. I haven't come across them, but I used to visit one up in Guangzhou once a week, meet some Western expats there, and we'd eat there. It's pretty good. They come round with these sort of big skewers with meat on. They just carve it off the skewers onto your plate.
Anywhere that's an all you can eat, that's where I make my money back. Yeah.
Well, somebody's saying in my chat room, Golden Eagle saying like a beef steak sandwich. That sounds very good. What you guys were describing before, huh?
Yeah, it's 10 out of 10. When you come back over here, you'll have to.
Rojamor is really, really nice. So I could eat those all day long.
Oh, I don't know about that. That might be a bit too far.
Foods I really enjoy.
Now, while we're on the food topic, I mean, do you guys find it expensive to eat in China? Because when I was in Chongqing, anywhere I went, I stopped looking actually at the menu prices.
You know what's strange?
Go ahead, Ollie.
In most countries, you find that generally things are more expensive or generally things are cheaper. But here, it's a total mix. You've got some things which are just way higher price, and then a lot of things that are lower. For example, toiletries like shampoo and things like that are really expensive here, I find, compared to England. But if you eat out, if you go for a meal out, it's way cheaper than you're going to pay in England. So there's a lot of difference in the pricing of things.
Mm-hmm. So guys, I've got a question for you. When do you realistically, do you feel the impact that there's hardly any let's say tourists in the country right now? Do you guys feel that, or I mean
it's hard to say. I mean, Shenzhen, I think a lot of Westerners actually stayed here. So you still see some of the same familiar faces about. Obviously, when we went up to Shanghai, that's 2 months ago now, that was almost empty compared to what it normally is, but we didn't see a lot of
to be honest, I think most people that I know have left, and a lot of them won't be coming back because either their visas expired whilst China's borders are closed or whatnot. But the people I interact with, the foreigners I interact with, it's down to about 2 or 3 of us now, and there was we go and play football often, and we can barely get a team to play now. It's a shame.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm going to keep you guys on the main screen here. Maybe you guys can comment about this. I mean, the UK is still struggling with the amount of infections going on there. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I think this is down to that they have been so slow getting this. The countries that have handled it well have done this sort of test and isolate, track, trace, isolate. And I just think the UK have been so slow now. They're now over 40,000 deaths, and I think there's going to be I've noticed the polls are saying that the government sort of, the population's view of the government is really going downhill at the moment over their handling of COVID. And I find it unbelievable that they had the sort of heads up from the Southeast Asia, then Italy got it, before them, and they just didn't react quick enough. And even now, they don't have a proper tracing app up and running. You know, they're saying they've got a lot of testing, but actually it's test kits they've only sent out and not necessarily done tests. I think it's in a bit of a mess, to be honest.
Now I'm going to move into that subject a little bit more. So I was speaking to a few people in Canada a couple of days ago, and there's been a big push for work at home. As you know, a lot of people are being given the incentive. But what struck me was the government's view on that. They said, right, if we're going to be seeing the working class working at home more, we're going to go to the virtual schools or virtual classrooms, which means that they had a gentleman on the news. It was live television I was watching. I think it might have been Global News or could have even been CBC, but they were interviewing a gentleman, and he said they could slash the teaching budget by 70%. That means, you know, firing teachers, teaching the kids at home. They would close down schools all throughout the nation, and as well as not only that is they would give extra incentives that parents that are already working from home, that they would slash the daycare. So do you guys think that this is a something the governments are really we're not talking China, but we're talking in the Western world? Do you think that this is something that could be detrimental to our younger generation learning? And is this an opportunity for the government to really slash the budget? Because I'm hearing most property taxes in Canada, municipal property taxes, over 50% of that goes to school budgets. So they're saying they could eliminate 2/3 of teachers, eliminate the properties, the schoolyards, they could put them up for sale, and as well as gives the government a great excuse to slash a budget for daycares. So anybody want to maybe pipe in on that? Give me their 2 cents if that is doable, manageable, or anybody got a comment on that?
Do you want to go, Jerry, or okay?
No, you can go. You can go, mate.
Okay, so I think that is really, really interesting. I would imagine there's lots of other countries looking at it. I think what COVID has done, it's made some of these governments reassess. I mean, there's always been a push for people to work from home, and obviously this could solve a lot of issues with pollution in cities and this kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of governments around the world will be looking at the effects of this, and I think it's going to change things forever. People keep saying, are things going to get back to normal? I think the normal will be a new normal. It won't be the normal like it was before the pandemic. I think a lot's going to change. There's Ollie was talking about something he was listening to on a podcast the other day, where a lot of the high-end restaurants was it America?
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, well, it's about 5 of the top 10 rated restaurants had all closed down because all the businesses had gone bust. And they're like ones that celebrities are turning up to every night. So it's like things are seriously going to change. And, restaurant businesses is obviously one of the worst hit. But it's going to be the same for a lot of small businesses all around. And I think a lot more stores are going to be moving online after this because, that's the place to be nowadays. If you're not online, you're going to find it hard to stay afloat.
But
yeah, go on.
That's going to, first of all, you're going to see education to really get hit hard. It's an excuse for the government to basically, and if you're looking at it from a financial point, I get it. It makes sense. You'll slash teachers' budgets. Teachers that could only hold 40 kids in the class. Well, you're standing in front of a screen. Can you handle 150? So there you slash 3 or 4 positions, and this gets very interesting. I can see it going this way. I really can. In the West,
it's almost like I have a theory that within 10 years teaching is going to become almost obsolete, because AI, artificial intelligence, is getting that good. Every pupil sitting in front of a screen could literally have their own one-to-one teacher, and the artificial intelligence will be that good. It'll just be like sitting in front of a teacher on a one-to-one, answering your questions, teaching you directly. So I honestly think this might have just accelerated that sort of push, where the step first, it'll be like you say, there'll be one teacher teaching 50 kids remotely, and then ultimately they'll bump that teacher and replace him with an AI figure, who can answer pretty much anything it's asked by any pupil anywhere in the country.
I just want to add something on to what you said before that, Alex. Just before that educational AI revolution happens in the future, I think you might see a big problem with that way of teaching online in the Western world, because it's hard enough to get kids to concentrate in the class with a teacher there in front of them, but getting kids to focus on a laptop for hours and hours every day, I just think the education would go through the floor. I don't know how, because I've seen a lot of teachers doing online education here, and they're even struggling, and Chinese kids are much more obedient than the average Western kid in class, I would imagine.
We got another question up here. What do you think about this policy push on street vendors? Do you see many of them where you are? Xiao, do you want to answer that one? Do you know much about that?
Yeah. I think this question quite concerned with the recently, there is kind of trend that street vendors will come back to the streets. I think there is a trend like that, and to be honest, in my area, because I live more in the developing area, and so far I haven't seen that much yet. But I heard my friends told me, like in some downtown, some area, there are vendors start to appear, and I think this audience just want to ask what's appealing on it. I think this because after the purpose of this trend actually is because after the pandemic, the economy is will be impacted, right? And many it's not only small and medium-sized companies will be affected. Like some people, like individuals, their business and their livelihood will also possibly be affected by that. And so, encourage them to go on the street to start a small business. It's a way, to encourage they making more money like that. To me, I think I totally understand. And actually, to me, I like to, sometimes if there's vendors on street, and it's nice to pick up some things there, some food or some daily stuff or something. I think it's quite benefit to customers like me, and I think it's also benefit for people like them. Like they need to make money to recover, like that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for answering that. We got another one. Please do a talk on China environmental initiatives in the future. The panel, anybody want to, when I was in Shenzhen just back in December, I really noticed a massive change in the last, I guess, 10 years when I used to go there for a lot of these, buying and selling conferences that they had, these big convention centers there. And I noticed the sky was bluer, and it was cleaner, and the air was not full with smog. I was shocked. I filmed it in my video. It was quite amazing. And maybe you guys can talk about how in your towns, anybody notice it in their towns where there's an environmental push?
That's something that crops up in our comment section quite often, saying, because we openly say we both suffer from asthma. And we see a lot of people kind of take the mix, saying, "Oh, I can't believe you moved to China when you've got asthma," like laughing at us almost. And surprisingly, we actually both suffer much less from our asthma coming here. And I don't know what that is, but the humidity definitely plays a part. But also, Shenzhen is one of the greenest cities, in the world. Just a start, like coming here and seeing. All of the taxis are electric. All of the buses are electric. So many people use electric modes of transport. You got your e-bikes, which is just everybody has them. You got scooters and whatnot, all of that sort of stuff. And then soon they're going to be changing all of their dumper trucks to electric
they've got some
right?
legislation where they're going to be pushing to have more electric trucks. What
and the metro.
Qingdao, Jerry, what's it like there air-wise? Because you're right by the sea, aren't you?
Yeah. Okay, so Qingdao is naturally, actually, the air is not that bad. Well, I want to make my comment on this. Before I do, can I just go back to the first question, Alex, that we had on that super chat that Shao answered.
Yes.
I've got it. I've got it here. It's about the street vendors. Don't worry. You can keep it on the screen. So I've got a picture here. I don't know if you guys can check it out. There's a picture of people selling on the streets there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about this is, I actually went there and I bought something. I bought like cookies and stuff from these two people, and it was this young couple, right? And they both worked for an export company here in Qingdao, and they actually lost their jobs with this COVID-19 thing going on. And these two guys basically started their own business when the government obviously lifted the restriction of selling on the streets. And they went back to their company and they asked the company, hey, listen, we lost our jobs, but can you do us a favor? Can we buy like product for very cheap? And anyway, so the company agreed, and these two are selling like literally downstairs from my building. And as I went into discussion with these two today, the guy told me, hey, listen, we are making more money than what we made in the company. So they are literally happy for selling on the street, actually. And I just want to say that's once again one of China's great systems, where the government actually give back to the community. And I feel that's a lot of lack that the Western world have. Now, back to the environmental question. Qingdao is naturally, basically, clean air. But yeah, if people complain about air pollution here in China, I just recommend go live in a place, like you say, close to the sea, because there's fewer, well, there's less air pollution over here. But I can see it's much better with all the people that went into lockdown. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I got another question. Yep, go ahead, Lee.
From what I understand, China are one of the most sort of forward countries on green energy. Although what you have to remember is, and a lot of other countries forget this when they criticize China, China has 1.4 billion people. So when you look at pollution and CO2 on a per capita basis, then they're not actually as polluting as you think. And I believe the US per capita is more polluting than China, but it's just simply because they have 1.4 billion people here. And we just need to address a super chat that's coming from Fluffing Fluff. She says the UK is going for a full opening on the 15th of June, so full opening back up as opposed to any lockdown. I think Boris Johnson does this deliberately to get rid of the old people, to reduce the overall pension payments. And I think this is kind of interesting. I just wonder whether some countries have sort of discussed that question, because I think in any government there must be a sort of discussion about at what level of deaths can they accept before it comes, too politically sensitive.
Yeah.
I bet there's people that sit there and go, right, okay, we're all right up to 20,000 people dying. We can get away with that. It's almost as if like they set this level,
Yeah, I agree with you, Leon. And, to add to that, that they say they're open, but they're still putting this 14 or 15 day quarantine, self-quarantine, and if you're not at home and they come and check, they give you a fine, and so on and so forth. So that's caused the airlines like Ryanair to say, what on earth are you guys doing? Are you going to kill our travel industry? So in one stance, you got him there saying, yes, we're being responsible, even though thousands of people are getting infected still. I think it was one of the worst in Europe. Then he's on there saying,
absolutely.
And then he's on there saying, well, we should open it, and to be strong, and it's not going to work. It's not working, and Thailand's really, where I'm at right now. Thailand's really dragging, and it's really hurting the economy here. I mean, we've had some of the lowest cases in the world. I think we've only had 58 deaths, which is not good, but comparing to other nations, and only under 4,000 people infected. The economy here is devastated, absolutely devastated. And when I mean closed down, it's closed down. Hotels like big names, Peninsula, Shangri-La, have actually full up, shut their doors, basta, period, gone, lockdown. Alcohol has been banned for a while now. You can purchase it at the stores for home consumption, but restaurants, nope, can't drink alcohol. Bars, clubs, pubs, you name it, off limits. So, it's really taking its toll. Switching off to another question by Fluffy Fluff here. Yo, he says, or she, do you know how difficult it is to get a Chinese visa so that you can live there permanently? I'm sure everybody knows that answer. It's Jerry, maybe help us out with that. And then we'll go to Xiao after that.
Okay, cool. So yeah, it is 100% not impossible, but I can tell you China is one of the most difficult countries to ever get a residency permit, a green card. Well, you will never be 100% citizen of China, but you will definitely receive your green card. Now, they issue these to, normally talents around the world, special jobs like doctors, I don't know, scientists and stuff like that. That's right. But there are other ways. For example, if you marry to a Chinese woman or man, whatever your liking is, you can go onto a marriage visa for 5 years, and if you are a good citizen and so on and so forth, you can apply for a green card, and then you can work. You must just remember, once you're on a marriage visa for that 5 years, you're not allowed to work. You're not allowed to get an income. Okay. So yeah.
Xiao, have you got anything you want to add with that? In regards to foreigners living in China, getting visas and living there permanently?
Oh, this question, maybe, sorry, I think I know maybe a little less than.
Okay, no problem. Others. Yeah, we're gonna go on to another question here. Do you think internal consumption can really become the main driving force in China? Is the government pushing it a lot, and how do you think it will take? How long do you think it will take, or how long do you think it will take? I know still being here in Thailand, they bet that the domestic market would drive their consumption here.
I think in China,
big failure.
I think in China that's already happening. The Chinese governments are aware how big their internal market is. There's hundreds of millions of Chinese now sort of being elevated to what they sort of say is middle class, and these have money to spend. And I think what you've got to remember is, I think during this COVID-19, there's a lot of pent-up spending power. And I think once the sort of gates to that open, you've only got to go. I went to the mall Saturday night. We went out for something to eat, and every restaurant there was absolutely, you've got to wait an hour to get in, and the shops were busy. And it's because there's this pent-up demand, because China are a nation of savers, and they'll save, but when they then want to spend, they will spend. Whereas, sort of from the UK, where I am from, people live paycheck to paycheck, so they have nothing in reserve. But just going back to the original question, if you look maybe 50 years ago, China's economy was really, heavily loaded towards export. And I think that's sort of, I believe now only 20% of their GDP is based on export. There's a much bigger chunk on internal consumption. When you've got 1.4 billion consumers, that's a massive market. That's absolutely huge. I think they're really getting that engine going with internal consumption.
Xiao, how about you? Xiao, you wanna mention something about that?
No,
okay, for this question, actually, I think yes. It is the main driving force of China's economy, before, now, and will be. And it's also okay. I can say from what I say actually is, after also the pandemic, the live stream, you encourage people to buy through live stream. It's also very popular. Let's say some companies and some individuals, and they work with these online shops to open their own account on this China's YouTube. You can see TikTok like this, and Taobao. Taobao is Alibaba. Yeah, like this one. These shops open to do live stream to encourage people to buy, live stream to sell things. It's very popular now. It's a huge trend, and it goes very well. It helps to, like to clean, to sort out the products that has been in storage for a long time, and like customers, we can get a good discount from these online sales, like I say, live stream sales. So it's quite interesting, like look at people introduce new products online and buy it at the same time. Yeah, so I think that's also a kind of a phenomenon that we can say that encourage people to spend.
Right.
Can I just add one
yep.
thing to that? I mean, I'm amazed here. You'll have like these live streamers, so they'll live stream and they'll be selling like let's just say, for example, a lipstick, a woman's lipstick. And like in 2 or 3 hours live stream, they will sell hundreds of thousands. There's some of these live stream celebrities here. When we say live streaming, all they do is advertise a product. So they might say, okay, I want to talk about this lipstick, and look, I put it on and it looks really good and that. And they sell hundreds of thousands of units in a few hours. And this just blows my mind.
You know what helps that along? We've talked about this before as well. If you're watching a live stream and you want to buy a product in England, you've got to go through, most Western countries, you've got to go through all the effort to think about buying it, and then you've got to go to the page, put in all your card details. It might take you 5 minutes to buy it. In China, it's impulse buy. It's like, oh, I like that. It's 50 yuan. It's bought in 2 seconds through electronic payment. And that makes it, people will buy so much more because it's just so quick to do.
Yeah, well, I've got a television here in my apartment from Xiaomi, and I can flick to one of the channels, and it's like a website. So they have all these Xiaomi products on there. I can press on the button to select the product that I want to buy. A QR code pops up. I scan it with my WeChat, hit the button, paid. The following day it's delivered. So the ease of buying stuff here is just so much better than back in the UK. It just makes it so easy to do. It's just amazing.
Do you mind if I just mention a couple of super chats that I'm not...
please do, Ollie. Please do.
We've got one here from Trevor Norman. UK not fully opened. Still cannot open my pub. That's
devastating.
Yeah, it must be really hard for these kind of businesses, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're just getting hammered. They're just absolutely getting hammered.
Well, when we come back to England, we'll come and have a San Miguel with you and support you.
Yes, you always.
Got another super chat coming up. Ollie, we'll get to your next one. Germany is breaking up with the U.S., not coming to the G7 conference. U.S. withdrawing troops. Is this a sign of the EU breaking up within 5 years? I'm going to take this. So, I mean, in regards to the European Union and the United Kingdom, I mean, that is the first, we'll call it Brexit exit. Germany seems to call the shots for a lot of Europe when it comes to, G7, when it comes to military, stuff like that. Now, is this a sign for the EU breaking up in with the Five Eyes? We were reading an interesting article that was sent in from one of our viewers last week about this matter, and I think that Germany, which does have a lot of power within the European Union, will probably be steering towards getting a more warmer relationship with China. And I can see that because the political system in the US is very divided, not just as a nation, as you could see what happened last week, and I think we'll bring that up on the show. But I think some of these countries just have had enough of the unpredictable. What is going to be the best for our economy? Something maybe not a spectacular deal, but something that is calm and consistent, or something that is erratic, that if you do one wrong move, sanctions come and tariffs come your way. And I think Europe is sitting back and saying, you know what? Let's steer the boat towards China a bit here, and let's get a little bit closer. And that's probably going to irritate United States of America. Anybody else want to, chime in on that?
Yeah, I think you're right there. I've noticed that Europe are stepping back a little bit from America. Germany do a huge amount of business with China. I mean, they must. China must be one of their really big export markets. You've only got to look at cars. when a lot of Chinese here become wealthy, they want to buy a German car, whether that be Audi, BMW, a bit lower down the ladder is Volkswagen, up to the top of the ladder you got Mercedes-Benz, Porsches. So they must do a huge amount of business, and I would imagine there's a huge amount of German jobs that rely on that market. So I think Germany are not going to follow the US. And I've noticed that Germany have been much more quiet in sort of, let's say, for want of a better word, slandering China over the epidemic. I think you're absolutely right that Germany do call the shots in the EU. And I think that's what kind of upsets, but they are by far the biggest economy now there, especially now the UK are exiting. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens there.
If go on.
I just find it very, not just about trade, but there's a lot of people bring China up in the, in the highlights. They're saying, well, you'll never be able to get, citizenship. I've been married and together with my wife for almost 18 years. And the road to citizenship in Eastern Europe, where, she lives in one of the Baltic countries, is going to take me to move and live in, Eastern Europe for 10 years. And then I have to write a language exam, and as well as give up my nationality, because dual nationality, they don't accept that due to the collapse of the Soviet Union. They don't want you to have a Russian passport and whether it's an Estonian or Latvian or Lithuanian passport. These laws are very strict, and that's why I cannot believe how much focus is put on China with this. The same as in Thailand. You can't, marry a Thai and instantly get Thai citizenship. Doesn't happen. As well as Estonia. Still, as Estonia is in the midst of, quite a big problem. They have what it's called 80,000 to 100,000 gray passports, and these are, older generation that were, living in the Soviet Union, told to give up their Soviet passport, or we'll call it Russian passport now, to become an Estonian. But you got to remember, these families have 2 and 3 generations that are still living in another country. So it's kind of like saying, listen, give up your right to go visit that country. Now you're going to have to get a visa every time you go there, and now you're going to have to get permanent residence if you want to live there. But that was your nationality back then, and these countries still haven't figured out. So in the Western world, we still have this problem. So this just isn't a Chinese problem. That is for sure.
Sure, yeah.
Go ahead, Lee. Sorry, Lee and Ollie.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think countries are becoming. I think that one of the reasons why it is difficult in China to get citizenship, as so to speak, or a green card, is that if you look at a lot of the other countries that have had immigration, it's because they've needed workers, and that's something China has never really needed. They've had a huge supply of sort of workers because the population's so big, and I'm not sure whether that will start changing. I think like Jerry says, if you have something that they need, then it's much easier. But one thing that's difficult when you are married to a Chinese woman, like in most countries of the world, if you join your spouse in that country, you're able to work. But that's something you can't do in China. So even if you're here on a spouse visa, you're not allowed to work. And that's something that I wish they'd address, because that is a problem for, I'm sure Jerry will sort of support that sort of thing. It's, I guess he has to work on a Z visa, not a spouse visa. So it is a problem here. Jerry,
we're coming to you.
Well, Lee, I can actually explain why they do it. I totally agree with you, and you are right. As a leader, the man of the house, you need to provide your family with an income. You need to carry the family, right? But the reason China do this, and I'm not just talking about this great systems of China, but it's actually a real it's a fantastic system they do have, because if you go onto a marriage visa, you don't need a criminal check to marry a woman here in China. So the reason they do this is to keep them away from schools, because you don't have to go through that loophole to get your marriage visa. And if you are a teacher over here, you need to go through a lot of hoops to make sure, number one, the kids are safe in school. You understand? So that's one of the reasons they do this. Hence, there's many teachers over here. That's the biggest, I think. It's all foreigners, or not all foreigners, but let's say 80% of foreigners do teaching jobs over here. That's the first reason. And the second reason is they don't want foreigners just to, start marry Chinese people and mix breed into half-blood children and, invade their country by their ideologies. And I'm talking about foreign ideologies and culture and stuff. So I want to come up for China here. I think they regulate this very well. As harsh as it sounds, I do think they do protect their citizens once again, and also their country.
Jerry, we're gonna go to Chao. Chao, I want you to actually tell the audience about, and there's two things that I want you to cover, and I'm just gonna get my questions off the panel here. It says, Alex, you got a 10-year visa. Will your wife be able to stay with you? She also has applied for a visa as well, and she does business inside of China, so she will be coming on a business visa, and she's been doing business there since 2009. We've both been traveling to China since 2003, and we will continue to do so in the near future as the borders open up as well. Chao, I want you to mention about the and I think a lot of people aren't aware of this, but your city is part of the 144-hour transit visa, and I think you also wanted to mention a little bit more about, if I'm not mistaken, the encouragement for consumption in the domestic market in China. Can you take it away and maybe talk about the visa first, and then just to educate our viewers what that means, and then you can talk about the consumption after? And thank you, Jerry, for that.
Thank you, Alex, and thanks for the question. Actually, I think I feel there's a lot to share. Like I mentioned just now, when the audience is asking about the internal to encourage the consumption in China will last long, or like how the government maybe do that. Okay, from my experience and from where I am now, there is something very, I think, meaningful and interesting happened recently. It's Chongqing, the city I'm in, there is like 32 million people, a huge metropolis, a lot of people, and there are different districts and counties. Well, recently just launched a event that encourage this kind of consumption trend. It's like the mayors of different counties and districts in Chongqing. They are actually going on the online. They're going on different platforms, like platforms or something like in China, like what we do now, right? That do live stream and to promote the good cultural products, the good creative products, local specialties from their places to showcase the good part, like the culture, the tourist place, and what's most important, the local specialties, the good products, and like the mayors of these cities just go online, go live stream to introduce these products. They want more people to get to know this place well, and to get to know, to come by, possibly visit or buy more products from them.
Now, Chao, are you talking about, like, are you saying that the city it wants to get out there, promote, it wants to get people to come to the city, and is that what you're kind of saying? That's the goal of even the mayors in Chongqing, the tourist thing. Is that what you're saying? Because I'd like to. Okay. I'd like to add in on that, because
tourist is one thing. Tourist is one thing. Another thing is like their products, the local products. Some counties here, they got very good specialty, like good food, or good like a gift, like that, and handcraft things. And these are all online for sale. And these mayors just step on the online streaming to introduce these products. They take the lead to do that. And of course, there are many people will follow, like the shoppers themselves, they will follow, right, to do more live stream on these products. And we are actually keep like a coverage on this event. If any people, like audience interested in this kind of event, how the government level is try to encourage the consumption in Chongqing, and can visit iChongqing's website to check out this information.
I'm going to add to that. I tried my hardest to find out information about Chongqing, and I got nowhere. Okay, it was so hard to find out even what was going on in the town, what were great places to eat, hotels, even business. I've been organizing my second trip back there, and I was still trying to find out things. And all arrows actually led to your website. You guys seeming to be the place to go for foreigners, because one thing I don't think, unless you've spent a lot of time in China and a lot of time in Western countries, the average viewer probably doesn't realize that, let's say I'm a person and I'm in London, and I'm planning a trip to go to Chongqing, and I want to see, if they have great restaurants. Well, when you go on TripAdvisor to see a restaurant like we normally do, or, Agoda or something like that, these reviews show what the Western people are saying as well. But you see, here's the disconnect, is that most of the restaurants aren't listed even there. Most of the restaurants are not even on Google, let alone TripAdvisor. So we were drawing blanks. Like my wife and I, we like to visit Sky Bars and stuff like that. Go look at a Sky Bar on Google, you might find one or two. When we got there, there's like 50 of them. So, I mean, there's a disconnect. I'm trying to match up the international market to the Chinese market, vice versa. Okay? And I think that is, maybe where the average person needs help, and it needs organizations like yourself. What are you guys doing to help people, international people that are coming to a city of that size? Did you get my question?
Alex, you mean the question on the screen, right?
My question is what does your organization or iChongqing doing for the people that are curious to come to your city? I mean, it's not like you have a tourist booth sitting even at the airport right now. So, I mean, when somebody comes to Chongqing and they land at the airport, they're going to get off the airplane and their phone's not going to work, and Google Maps isn't going to help them. Is that where your organization is trying to help?
Oh yeah, just like like when you first landed in Chongqing, and especially you are like from overseas, I think you're not very knowledgeable know much about the city, right? So
right.
Our website is trying to before you come, and also if to our website, you will have a basic information on tourism, on also daily what's happening here, basic information about tourism, where to go and how to do the transport and something. We have basic information ready on our website, and what's more is we are showcasing more wonderful places about Chongqing. And before you come, so you will say, put on your bucket list where to go to get tourism thing. And also if you are doing business, even the people who are interested in going business trip to Chongqing, we have news about Chongqing's trade business every day like that. So have a general information about the city, how its economy and how its tourism, in general. Yeah.
Another question's up on the screen here for you. Support and question for iChongqing. Can you please tell us about the difference between the spicy food from Sichuan and Chongqing and Guizhou, if I pronounce that correct? If I haven't, please correct me. Guizhou.
Good question. Well, they are all. I would say Chongqing is say spicy, right? And Sichuan cuisine is like a lump, like that feeling, like you feel more lump in your mouth, like that. And for Chongqing spicy is you feel hot, like you're burning, like your mouth is like that. And the Guizhou, how to say? I think the basic spicy. If you don't have experience before, you will feel spicy of the three places all. The difference will be the dishes, how they how they present you the spicy. The dishes will be different. Chongqing through hot pot, and some dish even some homemade dishes like what we usually eat at home and put you on the table is kind of spicy, like present with a lot of pepper, and you feel hot usually. And Chengdu is they also got hot pot, but actually it's not that spicy, not that as spicy as Chongqing's. And if Chengdu's dishes, you more feel numb, like the feeling in your mouth. I don't know, get that. Guizhou, if I mention Guizhou, I feel more about like a little sour, you know, they were like a flavor of sour and spicy together. If I did not make it wrong, you know, like that.
Well, the viewer that gave the super chat says I'm butchering Chinese names. I'm trying my best. Jerry, I'm going to go to Jerry, and then I'm going to go to Ollie after this. Jerry, aside from teaching and YouTube, what's the most common expat professions in China?
All right, that's an easy one. You know, a lot of students work in clubs. Listen to this; it's really true, right? So they basically work for clubs, and they run the WeChat IDs for the club. So basically, they get all the foreigners in that particular city to come to the club, because once foreigners goes to the club or go to the club, there's more Chinese people that will go to the club as well and spend money. So once the foreigners get to the club, through these particular foreigner that works for the club, obviously they get free drinks and they can party all night long and stuff like that. So that's number one. Another one is you get a lot of foreigners doing like, you know, live music shows around China, especially again in clubs. And it's not that I'm in clubs all my all my life here in China, but I've had my fair share of partying here in China. I'm here 6 years now. But that's basically what most of them do. And then you get the people that are married to Chinese women or men, and they basically start businesses with their spouses, and they just do the carry around of packages, sending and receiving, that kind of stuff. But I will say the number one job, apart from teaching, most foreigners are students working for clubs. Really?
I'd never seen that in when I was in Chongqing. I didn't see, I mostly saw bands from other countries, but I didn't think they would run the social network. And why is that?
Well, like I said, you know, the more foreigners that goes to a club, the more Chinese clients or party people they will attract. And it's not essentially a bad thing. Obviously, it's not really a bad thing. It's just they basically give foreigners privileges, and obviously they can't speak a lot of English, so they use foreigners to attract foreigners to the club to get more Chinese party people to the clubs.
I see. Okay. Ollie, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'd just like to mention a couple of super chats that came through. Pale Dude and Dips, thank you very much for the super stickers. And we've got one from Fluffing Fluff saying, a light-hearted question for Ollie. Have you bought Lee a taller back seat for your e-bike so that he doesn't have to look like an old child next time? If you don't know, he's referring to a recent video of ours where for the introduction, it's the one where we were going to DJI to test out the robot. For the introduction, we did it on my e-bike, and the back seat is made for like a 5-year-old child, and Dad's head was peeping up over the top of the screen. It was kind of funny. I didn't think
it was in a backpack on Ollie's back.
I didn't actually think twice about it when I was filming it. I didn't think so many people would find that so funny, but we got quite a lot of comments about it, which seemed.
Guys, you know, we were talking about consumption, right? Remember we were talking about consumption, and is the Chinese market going to be able to handle consumption? I want to show you guys something, and the viewers probably haven't really discovered something like this. And Xiao was saying that, you know, people get on Douyin or TikTok, is what it would be in the West, and really, in China they promote products, and people that are watching, they buy products. So I just want to show you guys something that happened to me in Chongqing, and I think this is a pretty damn good example of what everyone is talking about. So let's have a look here. If I can pull it up, just give me a sec. And I'll just run the video just for a quick second so you guys can see it. Okay, good. We got it on the screen? Yeah, we're cool? All right, so let's go. Let's have a look here. She's modeling the jacket to people in the stores. Not only is she going to do that, but have a look at this. She's actually live streaming this to an audience. And this is her, we call it TikTok in our country. That's her channel and live streaming it. And these are all the people commenting on what they think of the coat. So interactive. If you can't be here and you can't buy that jacket, you can say on TikTok or whatever, Alipay, WePay, WeChat, you can electronically pay for it. Somebody will take it off her, package it up, and send it to your house. That's about as live and interactive shopping as you can get. So, yeah, there you guys go. That's a little bit of an example of I mean, when my wife saw that, she just about flipped out. And said, "Is that possible?" Yes, it is possible. And you know, noticing the advancement of pay in China is amazing. Chow, one more question for you, maybe for the panel. You know, us WeChat. You know, I have WeChat. I got WeChat when I was there, and I decided to take out, you know, a few-year contract because I'm returning there in a few weeks. I don't want to keep getting a new SIM card each time. So I got my WeChat activated, and it's great that I have all of you on my WeChat. First, it's very difficult for someone outside of China to get WeChat activated. And second is, and this is maybe something that you can bring up when you're speaking to, you know, some of the local people or the mayors and stuff that want to, you know, bring innovation, bring foreign customers in, is that one struggle I had when I was in Chongqing is I had cash. And it was very hard for me to even buy a coffee sometimes in places because I can't put credit on my WeChat account. It's always closed. It says I must have an international Chinese bank account for that. Now, I plan on doing that the second time when I go in there, this trip into Chongqing. But, you know, even us that, you know, do some business in China, as foreigners coming into the country, I would have loved to be able to electronically pay and not have to take money around the city. Do you know anyone or anything that is happening that might be able to change that in the near future? Have you heard anything?
So you mean that about how to easier to pay, right? To carry money around and use phone to pay, right?
I have WeChat and I have WeChat Pay, but it will not allow me to top it up. Yeah. And same with Alipay. So, I mean, this is huge for foreign travelers because, first of all, they don't want to really carry money out, and second of all, we kind of feel like, oh, we're the bad ones. We got cash. Everybody else has got electronic payments. We want to be part of that too, right? And that's the thing: is how do we be part of that?
Well, I would say, if you can use phone to pay, that is one most convenient, right? You don't need to carry cash around. Even now, in my purse, there is usually I don't have cash, or I don't even need purse now, you know, like that. Just you use the phone, you go out with everything. That's super convenient. And the thing you mentioned, I think Alipay should have because we will later come out with an episode just tell how to bond the card with Alipay. You know, it works. It should work. Even like WeChat directly may not work through that, but Alipay, they have international version, and it's supposed to connect with your international like credit card like that. And I think to make the things more clear, I think, well, my colleague and I in the following weeks, we need to work out one episode on how to.
Yeah, I mean it's really not happening. Jerry, go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, there's actually a way for people. You know, I know you asked her now for some advice and stuff. I just want to give some real advice if people really gets into this trouble, right? If you go for visas here in China, you can't pay with your WeChat. They only accept cash. So basically, you get a lot of foreigners that goes into these visa, you know, facilities, and they want to go pay for the new visa, and they can't because you need like cash. What you can do is you just ask a Chinese person to pay on his WeChat. You just give him his money, you give him a little tip, and I promise you, you will be just fine.
We did that at Luck and Coffee, but I mean, come on, you know, it's gotta. I'm just saying that even if they had a top-up card, I mean, that would be interesting.
No, I'm actually joking. Hey, listen, let's make this interesting. Is that okay? Okay, I just want to address something because I see there's a goddamn weasel in my comment section down below. So I'm so sorry, show everyone for watching now. I just want to address this idiot. His name is Jack Miga. What's his name? I don't even know. Anyway, he's a clown. He's down in the comment section. So everyone watching in my channel, go hit this guy. I will not ban him. Let's make a fool out of him because he's just a clown down there. And I just want to ask this old guy, do you like me? Am I pretty for you? Because you are like 50 years old and you keep coming back to my videos. You come watch it, you leave comments. What's your issue, bro? Do you think I'm beautiful or what is your issue? Why do you watch some videos that you don't like, you clown? Get the hell out of here, bastard. Anyway.
Well, that's okay. Thank you for the outburst there, Jerry. That's greatly appreciated. And hey, 50 is a good year. In about 20 days, I'm going to be there. So watch.
anyway, this guy is crazy. So yeah, you can still do PayPal though.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, what I'm saying is I'd like to walk in. I would like to look cool too. Walk in there, beep, you know, hey, it's all good. You know, I'm in there. The Barretts want to say, do you guys want to say something about Ollie? And before you guys do, just want to tell everybody below again, I forget this all the time. You guys need to remind me of this. Hit the like button. That helps us out, as well as all of these channels that are here tonight. Please subscribe to them because we all are putting out content all the time. This is Xiao's first live stream on YouTube and Facebook. I think even for the panel, it's the first time we've streamed to Facebook, so we don't know what's going on over there. If you're on Facebook, we haven't quite got to the audience on Facebook yet, but we'll get there. And Xiao's probably not following her own audience in iChongqing, but next time we'll definitely get there. So don't forget to subscribe to all these channels. And I just want to tell you guys, we got a pretty interesting topic coming up here on Friday. This one took a lot of discussion throughout the whole network, and as you guys know, all of us are kind of connected. We belong to a big WeChat group, and some people come in, some people leave. I don't know why, but you know, the thing is that we talk about topics right after the show. We've done a show on Saturday. We say, okay, look, you know, what can we talk about next week? What is interesting? What should we talk about? You know, this week we're talking about religion, and these are some topics that are very sensitive, but we felt that this is the time this weekend to address this, because all of us, most of us that have channels here, are consistently bombarded by questions about China and religion. So you have to tune in. It's a pretty big panel this weekend. Quite solid people on this weekend for it. And some people have an opinion to say about it this weekend. And I think it's about time that we owe you, the viewers, to address this, because every time we find that we bring up topics that are sensitive, whether it's trade, whether it's religion, you know, whether it's wars, you know, like we did last week, and we talked about, you know, Cold War 2.0, we called it. Some of these topics, certain people feel uncomfortable to talk about. Some of them want to get right in there and right at it. And it's so important to us that, you know, we answer your questions, because we can only trust so much of the mainstream media, of course. So don't forget to tune in on Saturday. It's the same time. Keep an eye on all of our community channels, and as well as usually I'm going to be making a video about it tomorrow night and tomorrow, and then hopefully get it out Friday morning, just to update my audience about it. Kurt always gets out there in the street and really gives it a big push. So religion is on the agenda for this weekend. It should be very hot. Now, my last point before I continue on with the panel, and I want to thank everybody for the super chats. I'm going to put up our QR code for the WeChat, people that want to donate. Last thing I wanted to say is, you know, our show is not built around, you know, animosity and hate. You're going to see other people that are trying to, as you see, come into Jerry's room and get under the skin. Sometimes that happens. You got to remember, a lot of people that put...
I love them, so by the way, I love them. They are loyal.
Thank you,
weasels.
Jerry. Well, the thing is when we have this type of things happen to us, it can be sometimes personal. So just bear in mind that we are your voice. We're trying to be your voice, not only to Westerners that are interested in China, but also the Chinese community. We are here to give you a voice, and that's why the Saturday show is one of the most watched Chinese shows on the internet. So that's it for me, guys. I'm going to go on to the panel, and I'm going to start with the Barretts. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes, and then we'll go around and we'll end it off with me. So it'll be Lee and Ollie. It'll go to This Is China, then it'll go to Chow and to myself. Take it away, Lee. Okay,
so first of all, there was a question earlier about how do the Barretts top up their WeChat Pay. So I've been here, I've had a Chinese bank account here for probably more than 10 years, and when I opened that, it was very simple. You just walked in, give me your passport, an hour later you got an account. Ollie has also now got a bank account here. It's slightly more complex. You need to take some proof of your residency, but it's not difficult to get. Take a proof of your residence into a bank along with your passport, and you can get an account, and then you can register an account with WeChat, and away you go. And the second one, super chat here of Arthur Larson. Are Luckin coffee shops open? Stock is recovering. Yeah, well, they are all open, and I think they've, after their sort of bit of a stupidity in falsely declaring their sales income, I think a lot of Chinese people have rallied round and started supporting them, and their shops seem to be kind of pretty busy here now.
Busier now.
They're busier than before.
That's mad, isn't it? Thinking about it.
It's kind of, and this is the thing about having 1.4 billion people here. When the Chinese people want to support something, they can support something with pretty big numbers. So yeah, I mean, Luckin Coffee are far busier now than they were before they sort of give their false announcement to the sort of stock market. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why the stock's recovering, because I would imagine their sales are doing pretty well at the moment. I'll just hand it over to Ollie now just to talk about a few things. You might want to mention our mass factory video that we've got cooking.
That is true. I just mentioned a couple of things. I do want to thank everybody for joining on this midweek chat. We do do this one because we realise that on a Saturday, for some time zones, it's not as ideal. So it's good to do a midweek chat, and I enjoy these live streams anyway. On Monday, I believe, we're coming out with a video of a visit to an N95 mask factory, which is like the premium kind of mask, which in the Western world they seem to be kind of hard to get your hand on at the moment. And this factory crank out nearly 1 million a day, and it's quite a small factory, so they're pumping out big numbers. It's quite an interesting video. On top of that, I just want to mention that these streams are going after 24 hours on YouTube. They are being put behind all of our paywalls on Patreon. It's $5 a month, so it's basically the price of a Starbucks each month. So if you do want to support any of the people on the show, you can subscribe to their Patreon account I'm sure they'll have it in somewhere on their channel. And you'll be able to get all of the shows that we've previously been in ad-free on demand, as well as some other bonus content. So I'll pass and
Ollie, how long do we keep up the videos after? So people that haven't seen the videos, how long do we keep them up for?
We don't put them private straight away, just in case anyone's joined late. It'll be up for 24 hours, as well as people who might want to watch in the morning if it's not an ideal time zone for them.
And I think the reason why we do that is, once again, is we really try to encourage people to come to these live chats and really, ask us. It's hard if we've got about 600 emails to answer everybody's questions. So we try to answer everyone's live comments while they're on the show, and we go through the list, and it makes it a lot easier for us to do that. So it's not like we're trying to be annoying, but we'll put the show up now. Thank you very much for joining us. And then we'll keep it up for 24 hours. Then we put it behind the paywalls. And by the time you know it, Saturday's show is coming around again. So you get another dose of it there. I'm going to go on to Jerry. Jerry, any kind last words from you, sir?
Yes, certainly. First of all, I want to say thank you for the panel that I can be here with you guys. I just want to say this to everyone watching right now. I am currently on 3,999 subscribers, and this is thanks to these guys. So, and obviously you guys watching us. I know I've got a weird accent. I'm a South African that gives weird answers sometimes.
I like it.
But guys, thank you so much for all your support. I do love you. Haters, if you want to see how I talk to haters, come to my channel. I want to also say, if you want to understand China a little bit better, in a world drunk on weird ideologies, especially if it gets to China, come check out my channel, because my camera don't lie. I'm a straight shooter. That's why people don't really like me. But come check it out, and I will be busy this week doing some videos, also street stream, as I call it. So basically I walk with my camera around China, and I stream it live. Whatever I do, like go to eat somewhere, or just do something interesting, which I think is interesting. You guys can come hang out with me. And I just want to say thank you to Alex for being a great host. You guys you keep the shows together. Ollie, you had a great video earlier. I checked it out. He's got his own channel called Ollie Barrett. And he made a video of working for yourself as a boss, which I think is seriously, for a 22-year-old, I wanna take off my hat while I say goodbye to Ollie Barrett. That is a fantastic video. And iChongqing, I had so many questions from this goddamn troll in my my side chat, but he was asking, how old are you? You look 16. So let's just put this clown to bed. You are not 16. She's over the age being part of this live streams, you idiot. Just get out of here, and I'll see you guys.
We've had a couple of chats asking if she has a boyfriend as well. So she must
let's give her the floor to answer these questions. Ciao. First question that comes out, everybody wants to know who the lucky boyfriend you have is, and if not, how do they become your boyfriend?
Sorry, I did not get the last part.
The question is, I'm getting it too in my rooms, is what a lovely girl from Chongqing. Does she have a boyfriend? And if she doesn't have a boyfriend, how do we become her boyfriend? That's the questions I'm getting. So, and then you can tell us all about your YouTube channel and your site. So, if you want to answer that question, you can. If not, it's completely up to you.
Yeah, first, really thank you very much for the nice words, and feel flattered. And back to the topic.
Okay.
I'm actually back to the topic. I saw in the comments area that people asked what is iChongqing like that. Okay, my name is Xiao. Yeah, Xiao Wu is my full name, Chinese name, and I'm a journalist from iChongqing. iChongqing is a, let's say, Chongqing, this city web. It's a web to tell in like the tourism information and trade and business information about the whole city. A lot of content on our platform. It's a city website, let's say, yeah. And we have channels on YouTube, like I'm present here, and on Facebook, Twitter also, and we have an official website. My part, I involve a lot in the tourism part, because Chongqing is really amazing city, and I hope people who got a chance to come here and get to know our city beforehand, so that our website can help you, explore more beauties about these places. And also for people who hasn't come yet, or maybe have planned in the future something, and just just read some stories about the city. It's interesting, and see some scenic spots about the city. It's really amazing, trust me. And go to our channel, like YouTube, iChongqing, and you can see these amazing cities from different angles. You will love it, like Alex did, right? Alex does love this city. He came once, and I believe many of you will feel the same, actually. And I'm here actually to present. I hope like more people will like the city I'm live, and I will continue to work on the content that deliver you more about amazing places, about amazing place where I live. Yeah.
Thank you for that. So I've got
Alex,
Go ahead.
Before you continue, I just want to say thank you guys. I just made my 4,000. It's thanks
well
to
done,
all
Jerry.
of you guys. So thank you guys so much. And last thing, Saturday you're going to see a hot topic. So I want to give my first comment on this, okay? Because I will not be part of it. I'm not part of that panel. I just want to say, remember guys, the Chinese people live by the heart. The Western people live by a book called the Bible. Let that sink in for this week while you wait for the religion.
Thank you for that, Jerry. So I just want to say to the audience out there, every single day following our Saturday shows, we try to think of ways to improving our show. And we need to hear from you, the viewers. We need to hear from you how we can make this show better. Do you want us to have better cameras? Well, I've tried to do that tonight for you. Do you want our sound to be better? Do you want different graphics? What type of people do you want on the program? It's really important that you let us in the community know what it's going to take to keep you coming back to our Wednesdays and definitely our big Saturday show. It's important. We need to know feedback, positive, negative feedback, whatever you want to give us. Please just let us know how we can make this a better experience, and even topics are important. One thing we won't cover in this show is animosity and hate. You're not going to find that on these programs, but it's important for you, the viewer, to reach out to us in our communities, whether it's watching our videos, leaving comments, subscribing to all of our channels, discussing in our community tabs, or joining our live shows. Giving us super chats is great. Donations by also WeChat is very helpful, because most of these content creators that get these donations, they put them back into their channels to make them better for you. So I think that's pretty much everything that we're going to cover today. Please hit the subscribe button, and once again, we need your feedback on how to make this show better. Every week we try to improve it for you. We are your voice. And from the panel, I just want to say good night and thank you once again. And thank you, Michael Liu, for the last WeChat that you put in there, or the super chat. Thank you very much. Anybody else want to say something before we take it out?
Good.
Nope, all good.
Everybody's all good. All right. Thank you, everyone. And from all of us to you, it's a big goodbye and good evening and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you Saturday.